day Daniel walked out on his crippled wife, he thought he was leaving behind a burden, not an $8.4 billion fortune. Once, Emma had been his everything, radiant, generous, the woman who fed him when he was broke and believed in him when the world laughed. But after the accident stole her legs and the bills started piling, Daniel's love faded faster than her strength. He didn't know the woman he abandoned was heir to one of the richest family fortunes in America, nor that her silence hid a plan that would make him regret every step he took away. But when fate brought them face to face again, what Emma did next shattered every assumption Daniel ever made about love, loyalty, and power. How could the woman he once called useless hold the kind of power billionaires bow to? And why did her eyes, once soft with love, now burn with calm revenge? The wheels of Emma's chair squeaked softly as she sat by the window, watching the man she once called her husband throw 2 suitcases into the back of his black Range Rover. Rain drizzled down the glass, blurring his figure, but she didn't need to see clearly. She could feel the finality in his movements. He didn't even glance back. She remembered when Daniel's hands used to tremble from excitement just to hold hers. When they lived in that tiny studio apartment with a leaky ceiling and shared dreams bigger than both of them. He used to whisper promises into her hair. "One day I'll give you the world, Em." But the accident changed everything. It was a delivery job gone wrong. A rainy night, brakes failing, the crash that left her spine shattered. Daniel sat by her hospital bed for the first few weeks, pretending to be strong. But the bills piled high, and her healing was slow. The world outside didn't wait for her to catch up. She couldn't walk, couldn't work, and Daniel began to see her not as the woman who'd once saved him, but as the reason he couldn't save himself. He started coming home later, smelling of another woman's perfume. Her name was Vanessa, Daniel's co-worker, sleek, polished, with eyes that screamed ambition and lips that whispered manipulation. Emma had sensed it long before she saw the lipstick on his collar. Still, she said nothing. Not because she didn't know, but because she wanted to see how far he would go. And he went far. "Emma," Daniel said that last night, standing at the door, "I can't do this anymore. You're not the same. I'm not the same. I need someone who can walk beside me, not someone I have to push." Her chest ached, but her face remained calm. "So you're leaving your wife because she can't walk?" His jaw tightened. "Don't twist it. I'm leaving because I need to move forward. I can't stay trapped in pity." She smiled faintly, her voice colder than he'd ever heard it. "Then go. Move forward. Just don't look back when the road collapses under you." He left without a goodbye. 2 weeks later, he married Vanessa, the woman who had waited in the shadows, feeding his ego while Emma's body healed and her spirit burned in silence. But Emma had something neither of them knew. She wasn't just Emma Collins, the crippled wife of a middle-class man. She was Emma Sterling, the sole heir to the Sterling fortune, a name that carried weight in New York's elite circles. Her late father, Richard Sterling, had built an empire spanning technology, pharmaceuticals, and media. He'd left her everything, locked behind trust clauses that only activated when she turned 30. A birthday just months away when Daniel walked out. Daniel had left her right before her inheritance matured, and now as she sat in that quiet apartment, the rain blending with her tears, Emma wasn't thinking of pain anymore. She was thinking of timing, because she had realized something Daniel never would. Love may fade, but betrayal awakens a different kind of power. The kind that doesn't shout, it waits. She opened her laptop, the glow lighting her tired face. Her family's lawyer, Mason Grant, had left a message that morning. The trust was ready. The fortune, untouched for years, was finally hers. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She typed, "Mason, I'm ready." And with that, the woman Daniel had discarded began the quiet, deliberate process of becoming his downfall. At that very moment, Daniel and Vanessa toasted champagne in a penthouse suite overlooking the Hudson River. He laughed freely, wearing the confidence of a man who thought he had traded misery for magic. "She'll be fine," Vanessa said, brushing her manicured fingers against his cheek. "You did what you had to. She was dragging you down." He nodded, but deep inside, a small voice, the voice that once loved Emma, whispered uneasily. He pushed it away, because in Daniel's mind, he'd already won. He didn't know that the woman he left behind wasn't broken. She was rebuilding. Not her legs, but her empire. And soon, when their worlds collided again, it wouldn't be love that brought them together, it would be revenge. Emma's new world didn't begin with fireworks. It began with silence. The kind of silence that comes after too much noise, after heartbreak leaves only echoes. The day she signed the inheritance documents, her attorney Mason Grant sat across from her, his gray suit crisp, his expression unreadable. "Miss Sterling," he said, sliding the papers toward her, "you now control the full Sterling estate. That includes Sterling Tech, the real estate conglomerate, and the trust funds your father diversified into. Roughly $8.4 billion in assets, give or take market fluctuations." Emma's hand trembled slightly as she signed her name. Not out of excitement, but restraint. The world thought she was broken, and she intended to keep it that way, for now. "Mason," she said softly, "do you still have contacts in corporate acquisition?" He nodded. "Of course. Why?" Her lips curved, the kind of smile Daniel had never seen before. "I want to buy a company, quietly. No one must know who's behind it." "What kind of company?" She looked out the tall window of Mason's office, watching the city pulse below. "The one that employs Daniel Collins." Mason hesitated for a beat, studying her face. "You're sure about this?" Her gaze didn't waver. "I'm very sure." Weeks passed. Sterling Trust, under a new anonymous branch named E&E Holdings, began acquiring Daniel's employer, a mid-tier architecture firm struggling under debt. They didn't even realize they were being swallowed whole until the ink had dried. Daniel, now head of project operations, strutted through the office in tailored suits and expensive watches, all gifts from Vanessa. She had insisted on upgrading his life. New car, new wardrobe, new circles. But behind their glossy photos and luxury dinners, cracks were already forming. Vanessa was restless. She hadn't married Daniel out of love. She had married him for what she thought he could become. A rich man, a stepping stone. But Daniel's promotion hadn't come with the kind of money she dreamed of. Their expenses were piling up, and her patience was wearing thin. "Danny," she said one night, swirling her wine, "when are we getting our own house? Not this rented condo." Daniel sighed. "I told you, babe. Bonuses are delayed until the merger clears." "Then make it clear faster," she snapped. "You said you'd make me a queen, not a roommate." He slammed his glass down. "You think it's that easy? I've been breaking my back at that firm. And I've been waiting for you to deliver." She cut him off, her voice sharp. "I didn't leave everything behind to end up with another man chasing rent." He turned away, rubbing his forehead. "You didn't leave everything. You took me from someone who actually loved me." The room went dead quiet. Vanessa's voice lowered dangerously. "Are you really bringing her up?" He didn't answer. Meanwhile, miles away in a private rehab facility, Emma was training her upper body strength with quiet determination. Her therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Lily Pearson, often told her she had the resilience of a soldier. "Most people would have given up, Emma," Lily said as she adjusted the resistance bands. "But you channel your pain into precision. I've never seen anyone do that." Emma smiled faintly, her muscles trembling as she pulled the band. "Pain is useful when you know where to place it." And she knew exactly where to place hers, because every night after therapy, she sat in her study reviewing reports on Daniel's firm. She knew every financial weakness, every internal dispute, every employee's record, including Daniel's. He was good at his job, but arrogant. He cut corners. He liked attention. Perfect weaknesses. 3 months after Daniel left her, his firm received an email announcing a new CEO under their merger. Evelyn Stone. No one knew who she was. Her background was vague, her presence mysterious. But her name was soon on everyone's lips. On her first day, Evelyn Stone arrived in a black Rolls-Royce, stepping out gracefully in a tailored suit and diamond earrings. Her wheelchair, custom-built and sleek, gleamed under the sunlight. Daniel froze when he saw her. The face, the eyes, the calmness. "Good morning, everyone," Evelyn said smoothly, her voice confident yet hauntingly familiar. As of today, I'll be overseeing all executive projects and personnel management. I look forward to working closely with you, especially with our project heads. Her gaze locked on Daniel. He swallowed hard. His heart hammered. He blinked twice, trying to convince himself it wasn't her. Couldn't be her. Emma looked fragile the last time he saw her. Broken, defeated. But this woman was radiant, composed, commanding. Still, those eyes. That night, Daniel told Vanessa about the new CEO. She's different, he said, struggling to explain. There's something about her. I can't put my finger on it. Vanessa rolled her eyes. You're intimidated by a woman in a wheelchair? Please, grow up. It's not that, he murmured. It's the way she looks at me. Like she knows me. Like she's waiting for something. Vanessa leaned forward. Then maybe you should impress her. Get on her good side. You've been dying for a promotion anyway. Daniel nodded slowly, unaware that Vanessa's greed was aligning perfectly with Emma's revenge. Because Emma, now Evelyn, had already planned the next step. She would make Daniel trust her, admire her, depend on her, before taking away everything he thought he gained by betraying her. And the cruelest part? She'd do it while he still didn't know who she truly was. Daniel had always thought he understood power, the kind that came from charm, confidence, and control. But working under Evelyn's stone shattered that illusion piece by piece. She never raised her voice, never needed to. Her silence alone could bend a boardroom full of men to her will. In meetings, she would listen to everyone speak, then summarize the entire discussion in one sharp, surgical sentence that exposed every weakness in their logic. Daniel found himself studying her, not out of attraction, but out of an odd, gnawing fear. She reminded him of Emma. Not her voice, not her face, but her presence. That quiet, steady warmth beneath the steel. One afternoon, Evelyn called him into her office. The space was minimalist and cold, save for a single framed quote on the wall. Betrayal doesn't break the strong, it builds them. Mr. Collins, she said, her tone smooth, your last presentation was impressive. You understand the structural design of people as well as buildings. He smiled nervously. Thank you, ma'am. I try to. But, she interrupted gently, you also cut corners. In architecture, that can collapse a building. In business, it collapses a man. Daniel froze. I didn't realize. Her lips curved slightly. Oh, you realized. You just hoped no one would notice. He stood there, exposed. But before he could speak, she rolled closer, her eyes locking with his. You have potential, Daniel. But potential without character is a ticking bomb. I hope you disarm it before it destroys you. He nodded mutely, then left her office with his heart pounding, unsure why her words felt like judgment from someone who knew him. At home, Vanessa was growing restless again. She lounged on the couch, scrolling through photos of women dripping in diamonds and envy. Everyone's getting invited to that Manhattan gala next week, she said. We should go. Daniel sighed, loosening his tie. We weren't invited, Vanessa. Then get us invited, she snapped. You work for one of the biggest firms in the city now. Surely your precious CEO will take her golden boy and his wife. He frowned. She doesn't even know you. Vanessa leaned forward, smirking. Then make her. Daniel hesitated. She's not like that. She's different. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. Different how? He struggled for words. It's like she sees through me. Vanessa laughed coldly. Please, she's just another woman with money and wheels. Learn to charm her. That's what you're good at, right? He flinched, her sarcasm slicing deeper than she realized. Meanwhile, Emma watched everything unfold from behind her quiet empire. Through her assistant, she orchestrated every meeting Daniel attended, every success he thought he earned. She saw his ego rise again, and she let it. Because when revenge is patient, it tastes sweeter. At night, she sat by her window, the city lights flickering like dying stars, thinking of the woman Daniel had turned her into. There was a time she couldn't imagine life without him. Now she couldn't imagine life without this. Mason had warned her. Emma, You're playing a dangerous game. Revenge has a way of taking more than it gives. She had smiled faintly. Then I'll take until there's nothing left to give. The Manhattan Gala arrived sooner than expected. Invitations went out to the top employees of Sterling subsidiaries, including Daniel Collins. Vanessa nearly screamed with delight when she saw the golden envelope. You see? I told you. Now we just need the right look. She spent hours preparing, dressing herself in a gown of silver silk and diamonds she rented for the night. Daniel, in his black tuxedo, adjusted his cufflinks nervously, feeling a strange unease in his chest. When they arrived, the ballroom shimmered with chandeliers and champagne. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, then the music softened. Heads turned. Evelyn Stone entered. Her gown was black velvet, regal, elegant, with a diamond pendant resting above her heart. Every movement radiated grace and quiet dominance. The crowd parted instinctively as she glided through, her wheelchair polished to perfection. Daniel's breath caught. Vanessa gripped his arm tightly. There she is, she whispered. Stay close to her tonight. Impress her. I want her to know who I am. Evelyn reached their table eventually, offering polite smiles. Her eyes lingered on Daniel for a beat longer than necessary. Mr. Collins, she greeted, her voice calm. And this must be your wife. Vanessa straightened proudly. Vanessa Collins, such an honor to finally meet you. Daniel speaks so highly of you. Evelyn's lips twitched. I'm sure he does. Something about her tone made Vanessa pause. Tell me, Evelyn continued smoothly, how long have you two been married? Almost 6 months, Vanessa replied, flashing her ring. Ah, Evelyn said softly. New beginnings are always interesting. Her gaze flicked briefly to Daniel, and he felt a chill crawl up his spine. Later that evening, as the crowd thinned, Evelyn approached him privately near the balcony. The city lights shimmered beyond the glass as she spoke. Daniel, she said quietly, do you ever think about the past? He frowned. Why do you ask? She tilted her head. Because some people run from their past thinking they buried it, but the past has a way of walking right back, sometimes on wheels. He stared at her, stunned. Her tone, her eyes, that subtle smile. It hit him all at once. Emma, he whispered. Evelyn smiled slowly. Took you long enough. His world collapsed in that instant. His mouth went dry, his breath short. I thought you can't. Oh, I can, she interrupted softly. You left me when I couldn't stand. Now I stand taller than you ever will. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes glinting with cold satisfaction. The firm you work for, I own it. The house you live in, I bought it. Every paycheck you've cashed since your promotion came from my money, Daniel. He stumbled back, shaking his head. No, that can't. Oh, but it is. Her voice was silk over steel. And I haven't even started yet. As she rolled away, leaving him pale and trembling, the weight of what he'd done came crashing down. And somewhere across the ballroom, Vanessa smiled at strangers, completely unaware that she had just walked into the spider's web her husband's past had spun. Daniel didn't sleep that night. He sat on the edge of the bed, his shirt half unbuttoned, his face pale with shock. Vanessa stirred beside him, groaning. You've been pacing for hours. What's wrong with you? He turned toward her slowly, his voice hollow. You remember Evelyn Stone? She yawned. The wheelchair CEO who runs half the company? Of course. What about her? He swallowed hard. Her name's not Evelyn. It's Emma. Emma Sterling, my ex-wife. The sleep vanished from Vanessa's eyes. What did you just say? He ran his hands through his hair. She owns the company, Vanessa. The merger, the bonuses, everything. It's all her. She's been behind it all. For a second, Vanessa didn't move. Then she laughed, a sharp, nervous sound. You're joking. She's crippled, Daniel. You said she was living off charity. He shook his head. She's worth billions. Her father left her an empire. The laughter stopped. Her face twisted with disbelief, then rage. You mean to tell me we've been groveling to your ex-wife? That the woman you left for me owns us? Daniel didn't respond. He couldn't. The silence between them was louder than any scream. Vanessa stormed out of bed, her voice cracking. "You idiot! You ruined us! You could have stayed with her. She had billions. But no, you left her for me. For this?" He stood, his own anger breaking through. "Don't you dare put this all on me. You were part of it. You wanted me to leave her." Vanessa glared. "I wanted a man with ambition, not a fool who threw away a fortune." Daniel slammed his fist against the dresser, sending a glass crashing to the floor. "You think I knew? She never told me. She let me walk out like she had nothing." "She didn't tell you," Vanessa said coldly, "because she wanted this. She wanted to destroy you." Her words hung heavy in the air, and for the first time, Daniel knew she was right. The next morning, an email arrived in Daniel's inbox. Mandatory meeting, project evaluation. When he entered the conference room, the air felt heavier than usual. The executives were quiet, whispering. Then the door opened and Evelyn, rolled in. Her expression was calm, unreadable. "Good morning, everyone," she began. "We're here to discuss the leadership realignment of our architectural division." Her gaze landed on Daniel. "Mr. Collins, I'd like you to present your project results." His throat tightened. He clicked through the slides, his hands trembling as he spoke. Halfway through, she raised a hand. "Enough." The words sliced the air. "The board has reviewed your files," she continued evenly. "There are discrepancies in your reports. Corners cut, funds misallocated." He froze. "That's not true," she interrupted softly. "We have evidence, Daniel. You manipulated invoices to impress clients. You approved substandard materials. You gambled with safety to chase bonuses." He stammered. "It wasn't like that. Emma leaned forward slightly. "Tell me, Daniel, was it also not like that when you left your wife because she couldn't walk? When you said she was dragging you down?" The room went silent. Every pair of eyes turned toward him. His face burned red, shame flooding every vein. "You're doing this to humiliate me." Her expression didn't change. "No, Daniel, I'm doing this to remind you that actions have consequences." She paused, letting her words sink in. "You're terminated. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." The security guards stepped forward. Daniel's knees nearly gave out. He tried to speak, but no words came. As he was led out, the last thing he saw was Emma watching him. Not with anger, but with something colder. Disappointment. That evening, the story hit the news. Architectural executive fired for fraud. Company CEO orders investigation. Vanessa's phone buzzed endlessly with messages from friends, gossip, and scandal. Her world crumbled faster than she could process. "Daniel," she shouted, storming into the living room, where he sat slumped, head in his hands. "They're calling you a fraud. The landlord wants us out. We have nothing left." He looked up at her with hollow eyes. "I know." She laughed bitterly. You know. Then fix it, Daniel. Go beg her for your job back." He stood slowly. "You don't get it, Vanessa. She didn't just fire me. She planned this. Every bit of it." Vanessa grabbed her purse. "Then I'll talk to her myself." "Don't," he started, but she was already gone. Vanessa arrived at Sterling Tower just after sunset. The marble lobby gleamed under golden lights. When she demanded to see Evelyn Stone, the receptionist smiled politely and made a call. A few minutes later, Emma appeared, gliding out of the elevator with calm authority. "Mrs. Collins," she greeted smoothly. "To what do I owe this visit?" Vanessa forced a smile. "Look, I know things between you and Daniel are complicated, but he's suffered enough. You've made your point." Emma's gaze was steady. "My point?" Vanessa nodded quickly. "You wanted revenge. Fine. You got it. But you don't need to ruin both our lives. We can walk away. Start fresh." Emma tilted her head. "Start fresh? You destroyed my marriage, mocked my pain, called me useless behind my back. And now you want mercy?" Vanessa's confidence cracked. "We all make mistakes." "Yes," Emma said quietly, her voice like glass. "But not everyone pays for them." She nodded to her assistant. "Give Mrs. Collins the documents." Vanessa frowned, taking the envelope. Inside were foreclosure papers. I bought the property you're renting, Emma said evenly. You have 30 days to vacate. Vanessa's mouth fell open. You can't. Oh, I can, Emma said, cutting her off. Just like you could steal another woman's husband. Actions, Mrs. Collins, have a habit of circling back. Vanessa's eyes filled with rage. You're evil. Emma smiled faintly. No, just educated by pain. Vanessa stormed out, heels echoing across the marble like gunshots. Weeks passed. Daniel's reputation was ruined. No firm would hire him. Vanessa left him 2 months later, taking what little remained of their savings. He sold his car, then his watch, then his pride. One gray afternoon, he found himself outside a cafe, staring through the window. Inside, Emma sat with Mason, laughing softly, a sound he hadn't heard in years. For a moment, guilt crushed him. He pushed open the door and approached her table. Emma, he said quietly. She looked up. Daniel, I just came to say I'm sorry, he murmured, for everything. I didn't know what I had until I lost it. She studied him, her expression unreadable. You didn't lose me, Daniel. You threw me away. He nodded, tears welling. I know. There was a long pause, then she said softly, Do you want to know why I didn't tell you about the money? He swallowed. Why? Because I wanted to see if you loved me for who I was, she said, and you failed the test. Her eyes softened, not with love, but with finality. Now I'm free, and so are you. He wanted to speak, but she turned back to her coffee, her laughter resuming with Mason as though he were invisible. Outside, the wind cut through his jacket. He looked up at the Sterling Tower, her empire gleaming against the skyline, and finally understood what real loss felt like. Emma watched him leave through the window, small, defeated, swallowed by the crowd. For a long time, she said nothing. Then she whispered almost to herself, Justice doesn't always roar, Daniel. Sometimes it wheels in quietly. And with that, she turned away, her past behind her and her future brighter than ever.